I think architecture is the most visible and lasting form of cultural production. I think because of its permanence, it's the most elegant synthesis of art and science. It requires both to create forms which enrich the planet and humanity, but also be built and tested for a long period of time. So for that reason, buildings are often instruments of technology. I think its relevance to the world is because we make it. It becomes the truest expression of human character. So if you see a world which is challenged for climate, for equity, or other things, oftentimes one of the best ways to solve it is through architecture, because design can actually heal, I think, one of the largest challenges. I think the act of being an architect is to produce things which deepen your own understanding of the world. So if I am working on a hospital, I can sit across a table from a surgeon and I can understand what a surgeon needs to be successful. If I am working on a school, I can sit across a table from a teacher and they can explain to me how children learn today. If I'm sitting across the table from a politician, they can talk to me about how a building must symbolize justice and freedom and all these other things. So every project that you do makes you wiser, makes you better, and I think it's one of the reasons that many of the best architects are quite old. But it also gives you the most well-rounded sense of the world that we live in. It's a way of comprehending what feels incomprehensible.
I think soul is important, the soul of architecture, and I would say that centers around the idea, the principle of how engineering relates to architecture and how important engineering is at the inception of architecture. And that is something that I think the two of us believe in a way that helps define technology, the use of material, the use of research that happens at universities, the collective that comes from a relationship between practice and academics, and the cross-pollination of teaching and sharing ideas, and then ideas being shared back by those that have not been influenced by the broader environment, right? So students are those that in many ways have a very clear line of thinking. But when I talk about soul, I mean that architecture needs to be based on the principles of practicality. It needs to be inspirational, and inspiration comes from not just aesthetics, but the way buildings work and how one thinks of using engineering principles to create something that's really beautiful. Sometimes you see it, it's expressed, sometimes you don't. But the idea of creating something that's not just a piece of art, right? It's a built and a result of these ideas of principles, but also related to how we build, how we take those ideas and make them practical enough to design the tallest building in the world, or something for the city that might be beautiful. And it's related to a lot of work. It's related to a lot of effort, both from the side of study with great professors, but also in practice and how we work together to come up with these things that are brand new. No one's seen them before, right? So I think that's the hope. It's the hope.
I mean, I would say climate, culture, humanity, humility, ambition.
I would say invention, art, technology, beauty, and finally, science.